Today is the Feast of Pentecost. Liturgical celebrations commemorate God's great love for us and recall many of his saving actions. They are more than just a celebration of a historical memory. A liturgy is also meant to transform those participating in it. Pentecost, the feast of the coming of the Holy Spirit, celebrates the empowerment of the disciples to spread the good news of Christ without fear or error. And our celebration today can do the same for us. It is sometimes called the birth of the church. The other is when blood and water flowed from the side of Jesus. The gift of the Holy Spirit completed Christ's promises to send us a helper who would remind us of his teachings and how to apply them to future generations. Last week I used the analogy of a smartphone which can enable us to access information via an invisible network. The Holy Spirit forms the spiritual network that enables anyone, anywhere, to access God. We access this spiritual network through prayer and contemplation. The Holy Spirit gives us the ability to continue Jesus' mission even though he is not physically present. There is a parallel between the Jewish Passover, which celebrates their deliverance from slavery, and their Pentecost, which celebrates the giving of the law to Moses. With our Passover, the passion, death, and resurrection of Christ, which celebrates our salvation, and our Pentecost, the gift of the Holy Spirit. Both celebrate a saving action followed by the formation of God's people, the Jews by the law and Christians by the Holy Spirit, which enables us to remember and correctly interpret Christ's teachings. The Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have told you. The Holy Spirit gives us courage to proclaim the good news of Christ and promotes unity and tolerance whenever he is present. When the disciples, most of whom were Galileans who spoke Aramaic that the others barely understood, began to preach, miraculously each listener heard the message in his own language. The Holy Spirit could have given the disciples the ability to speak the various languages to the crowds. However, our experience with visionaries like Bernadette Subaru of Lourdes and the children of Fatima is that the message from the Virgin Mary or angels were transmitted telepathically. Those close to the visionaries did not hear what was said. I believe that on Pentecost, the message of the gospel, although spoken in their native languages of the disciples, were transmitted telepathically. Most of us are not able to communicate telepathically. But There is another language that everyone can understand. It is called the language of love, kindness, charity, mercy, forgiveness, etc. The 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit cannot be understood by consulting a dictionary. Some words appear similar. The gifts have particular meaning, just as each profession uses familiar words to have specific meaning. In the military, when they speak of their top brass, they're not talking about brass instruments. They're talking about their top leaders. When they speak of to stand down, the military is to stand down. It means they're not to take any action and withhold any firing of weapons. Or collateral damage, it means that you went to bomb the bridge, but accidentally you hit 2 houses at the side of the bridge. Wisdom is the ability to love spiritual things more than material things. The essence of God is love. Therefore, participation in love, charity, compassion, forgiveness, mercy, etc. is participation in the life of God. Spiritual things are not restricted to prayers and worship, but can include kind and caring relationship with others. That is why the church teaches that people are always more important than things. Understanding, knowing your faith and the teachings of Christ, i.e., what is truth. Counsel, the ability to choose between right and wrong, good and evil. Fortitude. Fortitude is the courage to live according to our beliefs and to stand up for what is right. Knowledge is knowledge of God through assimilation of all the teachings of the church. Piety is a humble reverence for God that comes from our love and trust of Him. Fear of God is not psychological fear, like in fear of punishment. It is fear of not disappointing someone we love dearly. The Catechism of the Catholic Church has a more detailed description of these gifts. The gifts of the Holy Spirit are like all other gifts we may discover within ourselves. The ability to play a piano, to paint, to sing, or to excel at a certain sport. These are talents that have to be developed. Many of us know someone who was extremely talented but did not develop his talent because he was never given the opportunity, schooling, or refused to make the commitment necessary to succeed. We all have the above-mentioned gifts, but we have to take the time and make an effort to develop them. Most people develop their talents because they can be handsomely rewarded by wealth, fame, and power, while others do so for the love of humanity. The gifts of the Holy Spirit benefit humanity because of the type of the fruits that they will generate from within us. The traditional 12 fruits are charity, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, generosity, gentleness, faithfulness, modesty, self-control, and chastity. Who we are is not who we think we are, but how we act. That's why Jesus said, "You shall know truth by the fruit it bears." A good checkup of our spiritual health would be to examine the list of the fruits of the Holy Spirit, determine which ones we are producing and which ones we are failing to produce. Charity, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, generosity, gentleness, faithfulness, modesty, self-control, and chastity. If many in our community can produce most of these fruits, we, the community of St. Bartholomew, shall enjoy the peace and joy that comes from the Holy Spirit.